We can see that the midline is off slightly between the upper and the lower. We will need to place an anterior cross elastic. On the patient's right side, the cuspid is much tighter than on the left from the horizontal standpoint. Here we might consider using an anterior cross elastic to the upper left lateral incisor. We also need to close the anterior open bite. The rule here is that if the cuspids are closed in occlusion, then just step the wire. There is no need for anterior vertical elastics unless the cuspids are open. After making the necessary contour of each tooth, we will now remove the arch wire and decide on the final finishing bends for this particular case. You can now more easily visualize what the final result will be after attaining a final recontouring of the incisal edges. At each successive month, after making arch wire bends, the length of the arch wire out of the distal end of the molars will become shorter. The arch wire bends using up arch wire length. Because of this, you need to be sure to make as many of the initial arch wire bends as possible in the first wire, then making final adjustments in the next wires to come each month. Keep in mind that the same wire is used each month until completion. Using a wax marking pencil, we will make a notation on the wire where we would like to place each bend. The upper right central incisor appears to need more mesial root torque. This, as we had mentioned, would tend to open up the space between the diastema, which was there last month. So we must be sure to ligate. Here we're going to step up the upper right second molar. A large arch wire bend is usually made between there. The same was done to the upper left second molar. We will now step out the mesial of the upper left cuspid and round out the bicuspid area on the buccal sweeps. Now for the central incisor. We stepped up the mesial corner. And we step down the distal corner of the upper left central incisor. Each tooth is adjusted according to the adjacent tooth and then you stand back and look at the overall cant of the occlusal plane. This is where it is important to place the steps at the correct place in the arch wire, in between each bracket. As arch wire length is used up, those bends will come closer and closer to the brackets. Making an error at the initial arch wire and not being able to make the proper bends will necessitate you making an entirely new arch wire over again with all the necessary bends, losing time and treatment. Making second order bends on these two upper central incisors seems to be giving me some difficulty obtaining the proper angulation for each tooth. It appears now that we have a gable up with the roots of each tooth being placed more to the distal. A combination of steps and angulation will obtain the final arrangement of the incisor teeth. By placing the wire just passively over the bracket slots, you can see what kind of activation you would have on each tooth. I am finally satisfied, so the arch wire is now replaced in total.